So now we come to chapter 39, entering Lila. We've heard the Lila yesterday and the day before. We went through carefully from Nishanta Lila, Prata Lila, Urvana Lila, Madhyana Lila, Apurvana Lila, Syayam Lila, Pradosh Lila, and Ratri Lila. These 8 yamas of the day, we should know them. And we should know what goes on in each yama of the day. We should, if we're pertaining to be sadhaks on the path of developing and reawakening our love and attraction for Radha and Krishna. What is the greatest way to do that? It's not by following religious principles alone. It's not just by bhakti, Vaidhi bhakti. Vaidhi bhakti is almost like a selfish thing. It's like I'm cleaning myself by performing Vaidhi bhakti. But actually, if the heart is genuine and genuinely wants to go to render service of Radha Krishna, he wants to know more and more about those personalities that he's serving. And what more close could we get than this Astakali Lila? There's many Naimitic Leelas which are beautiful and exciting to read, all the different demons, etc. Krishna's warring on the battle of Kurukshetra, etc. These are all Naimitic, all temporary pastimes of the Lord here. But in Golok, in Gokul, Vrindavan, in Aprakat, these pastimes are only there conceptually. So consider all this. These conceptual pastimes are certainly there, but they don't actually take place. So if we want to develop or bring out this natural affection and attraction to Krishna, then we must be focusing on who is Krishna and what is Krishna. So now this chapter is entering into the Lila. How do we enter into the Lila? We have these Ekadash Bhavs, these 11 principal descriptions about the Siddhadeya, about the perfect spiritual body. So this is what Goswami will be speaking about in this chapter, these essential Ekadash Bhavs. So on page 799 now, an intense longing possessed Vijay Kumar. Nothing seemed to please him. He could no longer steady his heart, even after having darshan of Jagannath Dev in the temple. He had when Mahaprabhu, he would never see Jagannath Dev. He would only see Brajendranandan, Shyam Sundar. He would never even see Balaram and Subhadra. He would only see Brajendranandan, Shyam Sundar. That was his ekantika, this one-pointed vision. He's in the mood of Radha. Radha is only interested, she's not interested in Balaram or Subhadra at all. She's only interested in Brajendranandan, Shyam Sundar. So that's all Mahaprabhu would have that vision when he was visiting. He would see with flute, beautiful Hitamba standing in Tribanga form. That's who he would see. Jagannath that we see now is the Lord of the universe, the most powerful Lord of the universe. But it's not Brajendranandan we're seeing with our material vision. We're seeing the Lord of the universe. He had long ago understood the fundamentals of Rasa Tattva. So we've also long ago understood the fundamentals. What are the ingredients, the anubhavs, the sattvika bhavs, the vyabhachari bhavs? The samchari bhavs are the same. And the sthai bhav, the lake of the sthai bhav, all these bhavs are, and what is vibhav? And mixing all this together, it's called the samagri. When you make the recipe of all these ingredients. So now we've gone through the anubhavs, we've gone through the sattvika bhavs, we've certainly gone through the vyabhachari bhavs. We've described the sthai bhav, the mukhya sthai bhav, and the gona sthai bhav. All these we've described. We've described all the ingredients. So we can say that we've understood, to some degree, we've heard it, the fundamentals of Rasa Tattva. We know it exists. Some devotees have written to me, this is the first time they're entering into these types of topics. So, but now they know these topics. They know the existence of them, and they know the relevance of them in regards to our regular sadhan bhajan, devotee has to perform his regular sadhana bhajan. If his sadhana bhajan, that's the only place we can take the temperature of our development and progress, is in our sadhana bhajan. And as we said yesterday, practically everyone, this takes place in Nishanta Lila, or the Brahma Muhurta hour. And we had there are so many extensive descriptions of Nishanta Lila, and it would be really helpful for us to always read this Govinda Lilamrita by Krishna's Kaviraj and Krishna Bhavanamrita by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And there are so many other books also describing these Leelas. And don't think that Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada didn't want us to read these Leelas. When we read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, once your eyes have been opened to the reality of the goal, the sadhya, then in Chaitanya Charitamrita in particular, there are so many references to Prabhupada saying in his purports, come to Vrindavan. What is the nature of Vrindavan? I'll give you an example. You can look in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 3, verse 16. Read it. I'll take a photograph of it and send it to you. Read the commentary, the purport that Prabhupada's saying. Clearly you have to go beyond Vaidhi Bhakti if you actually want to come to Krishna. Krishna is not in that place of being a great dictator and everyone has to follow rules and regulations. That's like Vaikuntha Bhav. And in Vaikuntha Bhav there is how many rasas? 2.5. Shantaras, Dasyaras, and little bit of Sakyaras. And those rasas are very much shrunken in Vaikuntha. So the gift of Mahaprabhu is to go to Golok, and it's only now, in this time, that this is available. It wasn't previously. It's Mahaprabhu who's directly giving this through the mouthpiece of Rupa Goswami. So we have to deeply appreciate what is the reality of that. And don't be childish and think, oh, well, this is not what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada was teaching. How long was the oldest devotee with Prabhupada on the planet when Prabhupada was here? It was like Prabhupada spoke for maybe 10 years, perhaps 11 years. So the oldest devotee would have been 10 or 11 years old. But now many of us have gone 30 or 40 years practicing. It's not that you stay in the kindergarten and stay studying the same. The topics aren't, kindergarten is the wrong word really, but the elementary teachings of spiritual life. You're not the body, you're the spirit soul. How long can you say that for? And be interested and enthusiastic about it. So for the older devotee to come into this Rasa Tattva is a great gift. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving this gift. But we should take it with 2 hands carefully, drink it and relish it. And it's not for the external world. It's not for posting on Facebook and everything like that. It's for our own internal development. It's not an external thing. It's for an internal, reflective, meditative focus of our consciousnesses. This is what it's giving us. He had long ago understood the fundamentals of Rasa Tattva, but it was only now, in Sri Gopal Guru Goswami's association, that he came to understand Madhurya Ras with its Sthai Bhav, Vibhav, Anubhav, Sattvika Bhavs, and Vyabhachari Bhavs. So what does that mean? That means only in the association of a Rasik, Bhuvaka, Vaishnava, will we get the real current of this tattva. If we're always sitting with devotees who are not so much educated in these topics, then you will think these topics are not a reality. I can remember many years ago when I first read Nectar Devotion, I was thinking, 34, 35, almost 40 years ago, reading and thinking, oh, this is wonderful, but it's not for me. I don't really quite believe it. But when you've been in the company of a self-realized sadhu, then you realize the reality of it. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving us this opportunity. If we have this desire, Krishna must supply that sadhu who is in knowledge of these subject matters, practicing them, and has some realization of them. And by that association, we will get the confidence. Shraddha Sabde Vishvasa. This confidence to walk into there and to realize it's a truth, it's a reality. because we play around with the peripherals of liberation, etc. We're always wanting to be liberated from our material sufferings and so on. But that is not the path. Nirvishesh Brahm is not the path. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says repeatedly in the Falshruti. And it's only now in Sri Gopal Guru's association that he came to understand Madhurya Ras with its Sthai Bhav, Vibhav, Anubhav, Sattvika Bhav and Vyabhachari Bhavs. Different Bhavs manifested in his heart at different times. For a while, one Bhav would arise and immerse him in bliss, and then a new Bhav would invade his heart. This is all natural. This is all just coming by itself. He's not inducing this. They're just coming because he's reached a stage of faithful attachment to his Guru Dev and to the subject matter. And he has, in this case, Vijay Kumar, great sanskar, born in the holy Dham, lived a whole life dharmically, purely. So these are very easily these truths coming into the heart. But for most Western devotees in particular, we don't have those sanskars, that sukriti, so for us it's more difficult. But don't doubt that by hearing these topics, it will create the sukriti and sanskar. And how will we know it's creating the sukriti and sanskar? Because an eagerness and enthusiasm will be coming into the heart to hear more and more and more about these topics, but in a confidential manner, and still respecting those Vaidhi Bhaktas who are on that path of Vaidhi Bhakti. Not all of a sudden this is another sectarian society of Gopi Bhav Club, something like this. We're all on such a high platform and we look down with disdain on those who aren't in this area. Then completely you're not on the spiritual platform at all. You're on a grossly proud material platform. So it has nothing to do with competitiveness or sectarianism at all, not at all. But we create that through our youthful passion, so to speak. You know? We create those sectarian types of groups, thinking that because the world that we live in, the world that we come from, is completely competitive. It's all about competition. I'm better than you. So we've got that ingrained within us that has to be purified. This path doesn't have anything to do with that at all. It's a solitary individual journey of the soul. And if we see it that way, with great enthusiasm and excitement to come to the lotus feet of service to Radha and Krishna. And we're not coming with a crowd, just like the gopis didn't run in a group to the forest at night. They ran completely individually. They heard that flute song in their ear, and billions of gopis, they all ran to the forest completely independently, totally independent. And when they got there, they found so many other gopis were there, but they weren't expecting them. They were thinking, I'm courageously facing the dangers of the dark forest at night, because it is a dangerous path. When you realize just how much independence you do have, it's not that Krishna is going to immediately catch you all the time like a baby. You have your independent choice to move, to go, how you're going to navigate through here. So these are important topics to drink for ourselves selectively. And then with that strength of knowledge, then we can give to others whatever adhikar they have. We can increase that enthusiasm there, but never condemn anybody for not coming on this journey, this path. This is just completely material, utterly useless. Different bhavs manifested in his heart at different times. For a while, one bhav would arise and immerse him in bliss, and then a new bhav would invade his heart. He passed his days in this way, completely helpless to check the awakening and movement of any bhav in his heart or its transformation into another bhav. It's like when you, sometimes people who perform yoga very strictly, they can tap into this kundalini energy and it starts to move you around involuntarily. It can move you. You're not even doing anything, but you're being moved by it. So Vijay Kumar has been like that. He's been like moved by these bhavs. He passed in this way, completely helpless to check the awakening and movement of any bhav in his heart or its transformation into another bhav. Consequently, one day, we're talking about one man. He's not in a group. He's not going back to his mat some type of institutional mentality. He's alone practicing this path. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is showing this from the beginning. From the beginning, there were no institutions in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time. It was only Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, out of his great compassion, that manifested the institution to support the bhaktas, not to create sectarianism and disrespect amongst each other. That was never his purpose. But it evolved down to that, where the mutts have their own individual natures because they're led by a particular strong devotee in one area, so they have their own specialities, and then they start condemning other mutts that don't follow the same norms, because everything is going to be individual. The bhavs that you experience are not going to be the same as anyone else in existence experiences. So we can't try to wedge them all together. But society has to do that, especially a demonic society like Kali Yuga that we live in. The demons like to control, so they like everyone to be walking like robots, then they can control them. They have these mobile phones that they can just, they throw out all these different messages deliberately to distract the whole populace from really what they're doing. So we all become confused and mesmerized even more than the Mayic energy is. This is, of course, in the hands of Maya Devi. So, but this individuality we have to come to terms with and courageously accept, because we do need courage to go that way. Consequently, one day he approached the lotus feet of Sri Guru Goswami with tearful eyes and submitted the following request. Prabhu, by your unlimited compassion, I have learned everything, but I cannot control my real self, so I cannot firmly establish myself in Krishna Lila. Kindly bestow upon me whatever instructions you may think suitable for me in my present condition. So he knows so much of the Rasa Tattva, it's already been described, and he's got the potency and benediction to go into this area, but there's an area of his own perfected self that is still not categorically firm. His heart is not firm because he's not completely aware of the identity of his spirit soul. So this is what we're going to talk about. Sri Guru Goswami became overjoyed to see Vijay Kumar's bhavs and thought to himself, "Aho, how glorious and wonderful the nature of Krishna Prem is. It makes happiness seem like distress," because actually Vijay Kumar is in such an intoxicatedly happy place, but he's feeling completely distressful because his heart is restless. So he's feeling distressful, even though it's actually such a high condition. And distress is like happiness. Then he said to Vijay Kumar, "My dear son, now you should adopt the means by which you can enter into Krishna Lila." Vijay, what is the method for doing that? Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami has prescribed the method to enter Krishna Lila in the following shloka. Na dharmam nadamam shrutigana niruktam kila kuru Rajye Radha Krishna Prachur Paricharyam Iha Tanu Sachi Sunam Nandishwara Pati Shutve Guru Varam Mukunda Pristave Smara Param Ajasram Nanu Manaha. This is Manashiksha 2. Oh my dear mind, Raghunath Das is our Prayojan Acharya. So Raghunath Das has given us this Manashiksha. He's given us Vilap Kusumanjali. He's given us Brajavilas Stava. He's given us so many exalted shastras to immerse ourselves in. But my dear mind, please do not perform either dharma or adharma mentioned in the Shrutis. Saying exactly the same that Bhaktivinoda Thakur starts his Valshruti over. Don't follow this material dharma. Can you do it? No, we can't. We are so dharmically ingrained to follow the route of dharma. If the traffic light for walking across the pedestrian is red and there's not even any car coming, I will not walk across the road because the law says don't walk across. But Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who was described by one devotee on a walk with him, he would come to the traffic and there would be no traffic and the light would be red and he would just walk straight across the road. Because sometimes it's crazy. Why should you not walk across the road if there's no cars coming? So look for the purpose behind the dharmic instructions. Rather, you should render profuse loving service to Sri Sri Radha Krishna Yugal here in Braj, for the Shrutis have ascertained that they are the highest principle of supreme worship and the supreme absolute truth. Always meditate on Sachinandan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is richly endowed with the complexion and sentiments of Srimati Radhika, as non-different from Sri Nandanandan, and always remember Sri Gurudev as most dear to Sri Mukunda. Always remember Mahaprabhu. Unless we're remembering Mahaprabhu, we're not going to be able to enter into Krishna Lila. If we're just immersed in remembering those Astakali Lila, but we're not praying first for the mercy of Mahaprabhu, we will not have entrance. It is through the channel of Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami that will give us entrance into that Astakali Lila. The chapter is titled Entering Lila. Mahaprabhu has the key. Don't think we can do something separate. If you're hearing lots of Braj Ras Katha and no mention of Mahaprabhu, you should feel a little bit shy of that place. It has to be on the platform of Mahaprabhu. It has to be. He is the one who's opening the door for Paraki above. It was never there previously. Don't waste time vainly deliberating on the righteous and unrighteous activities, dharma and adharma mentioned in Shastra. Don't waste time. People will follow, people won't follow. That's not our business. In other words, you should completely abandon Shastric reasoning and logic and engage in the sadhana of Raganuga Bhakti according to the greed developed in your heart. Render profuse loving service to Sri Sri Radha and Krishna in Braj. Always in Braj. Tannama Rupa Taritadi Sukirtana Smitya Kramana Rasana Siddhyoja Tishtem Braje Tanuragi Janugami. Always follow those residents of Braj. Rupa Goswami, that's the essence of all advice in his Upadeshamrita. All Goswamis are saying the same thing. That is, engage in the bhajan of Brajaras. If you ask who will teach the aim and object of Brajaras bhajan, then please listen. After Braj Lila, our Prananath Sri Nimananda has appeared from the womb of Sri Sachi Devi in Prachana concealed Vrindavan. So this Nimananda, this is Mahaprabhu, of course, Nimai. Sri Navadvip Dham. Sachinandan Gaurahari is none other than Krishna himself, the son of the Lord of Nandishvara, Sri Nanda Maharaj. Never consider Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be inferior to Sri Krishna. An uneducated person will somehow have the idea, if they don't know Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritiya Kladini Shakti Asma Ekatmana Apibuvi Deha Bedam Katoto Chaitanyayikam Prakatam Aduna Tadvayam Chekyam Radha Krishna Subalitam. Huh? No, that's the last, that's the next one. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritiya Kladini Shakti Asma Ekatmanava Pibui Deya Perintaro Chaitanyayikam Prakatam Adana Tatvayam Chekanata Radha Bhav Dudi Subalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. That is the last line of that one. Is that what you say? Yeah, I thought you were saying the other. Never consider Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be inferior to... These three verses of Adi Lila, 4, 5 and 6. 4, Anapita Chirim Chirat, is written by Rupa Goswami. If you don't know this verse, if you don't know the meaning and purport of that verse, how can you expect to enter into this Lila place of consciousness? This is glorification of Mahaprabhu by Rupa Goswami. This Unnata Ujvala Ras that Mahaprabhu came to taste, and Mahaprabhu came to give Swabhakti Shriyam. Swabhakti, that own bhakti, Krishna's own bhakti. Shriyam means beauty. What is the beauty of Krishna's bhakti? It's the manjaris, the manjaris. This is how it's been described fully. When we have a creeper growing, it has flowers. That's like the sakis, but they have manjaris inside. So it's Manjari Bhav that Mahaprabhu has come to give, not Saki Bhav. He hasn't come to give that. We've discussed this previously. So if we want to enter into Lila, we must take shelter of Mahaprabhu. Don't think Mahaprabhu to be inferior to Sri Krishna in any aspect of tattva. He has appeared in Navadvip and has displayed a distinct bhajan Lila. So you should never give up Braja bhajan. What is Mahaprabhu thinking when he first wakes up? He's thinking immediately of Nishanta Lila. He's immersed himself in Nishanta Lila. That's what he's immersed in. And he will take us into that Nishanta Lila if we have full nishta to him. So everything is on the back of Mahaprabhu. Everything. So those three verses, the 4th, 5th and 6th, should be inscribed in the sadhaks' hearts. You can post those 3 verses again with their translations, etc. The second 2, the 5 and 6, are written by Swarup Damodar. We should say these 3 verses every single day because they encapsulate the entirety of the identity of Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami and all our Guru Varga is all contained within there. He is Krishna, he is Navadvip, hang on. So you should never give up Braja Bhajan, thinking that he is Navadvip Nagara, the lover who enjoys the consorts in Navadvip. He is Krishna himself, but you should not disturb those on the path of Archan. This is what I was saying previously. Don't disturb those who are in the path of Archan. Archan is just the external worship, going to the temple, performing all these activities with your body. It's not the internal, reflective contemplation that's being described here. So don't disturb those people who meditate upon him separately from Krishna and perform his worship with separate mantras. Yes, those who worship just Radha and Krishna separate from Mahaprabhu, don't disturb them. On the Ras Marg, he is the exclusive object of bhajan as Sri Radha Ballabha, and he has appeared as Sri Sachinandan, the sole guru of Brajaras. My Guru Dev has described very carefully, Sachinandan Gaurahari is our bhajan shiksha guru. This is who he is. He's our bhajan shiksha guru. He will carry us into bhajan. Therefore, perform bhajan of that Sachinandan as Krishna Preshta, that is, considering him to be Guru, who is very dear to Krishna. It's a nice expression. Krishna Preshta. Mahaprabhu is Krishna Preshta. Before performing Radha Krishna Smaranam, always remember Gaura Lila. Always remember Gaura Lila first. Don't just jump in. Because it will stimulate and awaken your bhavs of Astakalya Krishna Lila. Always realize Bhajan Gurudev is none other than a Braja Yujeshwari or Saki. Enter into Braj Lila by performing bhajan in this way. So this is the method, this is the path to enter Smarana Lila of Radha and Krishna's pastimes on the back of Mahaprabhu's teachings. And that involves these 3 verses. Anapita Chirinchira, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritya, Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima. These 3 verses, most essential. That last one, Shri Radha Krishna Pranaya Mahima, Kidrisho Varaiva, Swadhyena Buddha, Madariva, Kidrisho Varadya, Sokyam Kasyam Mad Anubhavita, Kidrisham Patiloba, Tat Bhavadya Samajani, Sachi Garabo Sindhu Harindu. This is the 6th verse. So there's 4, 5, and 6. Essential to know the meanings very deeply and to recite them regularly. It's the backbone. Swarup Damodar is none other than Lalita Saki. Who is our Saki Gan? Who is our Saki Yuteshwari? Srimati Radhika is the Yuteshwari, but Lalita Devi has the particular Gan that we are being directed towards. And Lalita Devi is Swarup Damodar, and he wrote these last 2 verses. Shri Radha Krishnaya Pranaya and Radha Krishna Vikritya Ladin. These verses, that's 4, that's 5 and 6. written by Lalita Saki, Swarup Damodar. Vijay, Prabhu, now I will put aside all the logical arguments of the Shastras and all the other paths, for I am becoming very eager to render appropriate services in Astakalya Krishna Lila, as taught and demonstrated by Sri Gauranga Dev, under the guidance of my Guru Rupa Saki. Please instruct me how I can make my mind steadfast in this attitude so I can achieve my goal. Hear these truths carefully. It's a very powerful chapter. Goswami, two subjects are to be clearly understood in this connection. Upasya Pariskriti and Upasaka Pariskriti. Upasya and Upasaka Pariskriti. Upasya Pariskriti means to refine the conception and realize the true nature of the upasya, or the object of one's seva. This is what we were saying before. Who is the object of our seva? And it's only what you think in your heart, not what the rest of Facebook think in their imagined conceptions. It's what you think in your heart. This is what we must appreciate. You have already accomplished Upasya Pariskriti, for you have understood Rasa Tattva. There are 11 bhavs, Ekadash bhavs, with respect to Upasaka Pariskriti. You have gained almost all of them, but you need to be somewhat more firmly established in them. So now he's going to explain the nature of the Siddhadeya and these Ekadash bhavs. This is very important to at least appreciate at this point. Vijay, kindly explain these Ekadash bhavs to me thoroughly once again. He's already explained them, but now he's going to explain them again. Goswami, the Ekadash bhavs are 1. Sambandha, relationship. 2. Vyas, age. 3. Nam, name. 4. Roop, personal form and beauty. 5. Yut, group. 6. Vesh, dress. 7. Agyan, specific instruction. 8. Vas, residence. 9. Seva, exclusive service. 10. Parikashta Svasa, the highest summit of emotion, which is the aspirant's very life breath. And 11. Palyadasi Bhav, the sentiment of a maidservant under protection of Sri Radha. And we are under the protection of Sachinandan Gaurahari, who was in the mood of Sri Radha. It's only Sachinandan Gaurahari who is giving us Sri Radha. We would not understand any of these things without Mahaprabhu. So how can we expect to enter into Krishna Lila without full submission and prayer to Mahaprabhu? Always he is most prominent. Vijay, what is Sambandha, relationship? Goswami, the sentiment of Sambandha is the very foundation of this subject. The sentiments with which one relates to Krishna when one establishes Sambandha determine one's corresponding state of perfection, siddhi. So whoever you think of as Krishna, that is what's going to manifest your relationship with Krishna. Relationship is a reality. It's not something just like dreamy. It's who is Krishna? How close are you to Krishna? How much do we love Krishna? We've heard about his qualities. We've heard about his 4 different types of personality or characteristics. Dhirodata, Dhirlalit, Dhirodata, and Dhirshantaha, these 4 types. We've heard so many descriptions of the nature of his pastimes, his joking. Dhirlalit, these are all Dhirlalit moods. And we've heard also so much about Radhika. So this is giving us a simple entrance into that sambandha, a familiarity with these personalities, but always with full respect until we realize our siddhadeya, ourselves. If there's any lack in respect, that will transgress the very core of our path, and we will become like sahajiyas. I've met devotees sometimes, they try to talk very familiarly about Radha and Krishna. We should hold to the beautiful guidance of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, who would speak very carefully about Radha and Krishna in a very respectful mood, trying to teach us. My Gurudev blew it out into a very familiar space, but if we didn't have the adhikar to really understand that, we have to develop that respectful mood towards Radha and Krishna, not become thinking that I'm so familiar because I'm knowing so many things about Krishna. Very important. The sentiments with which one relates to Krishna when one establishes sambandha determine one's corresponding state of perfection, siddhi. One who accepts Krishna as master when he establishes his relationship with him becomes das. So this is like in Dasya Ras, or even in Vaikuntha, we accept Krishna as master. One who accepts Krishna as his Saka, or son, when he establishes his relationship becomes Saka, or parent, respectively. One who accepts him as husband in the marital Swakiya relationship becomes a beautiful young lady in Dwarka. Shantaras is absent in Braj. Absent in Braj. Shantaras is absent in Braj. It's the ras that in the material world everyone is looking for, that Shantaras. But it's not even in Braj. It's absent. It's in Vaikuntha to a great degree with those four liberated conditions. Sarupya, Salokya, Sharsti, Samipya. These four liberated conditions. Shantaras is absent in Braj, and even Dasyaras is very inhibited, because Madhurya Ras doesn't allow those moods of awe and veneration to actually come in pure Madhurya Ras. In any case, this relationship is established according to the worshipper's ruchi, according to the worshipper's taste. So again, it's very individual, it's very unique, it's not a group consciousness. I'm saying this all the time. We have to wake up to our own intrinsic individual nature and our whole glorious individual personality. It's very empowering to wake up to that. Your nature is feminine and your inclination is in Parakiya Ras. So you are a subordinate attendant of Brajavaneshwari. The sambandha that you have to cultivate and realize fully is, I am a maidservant of Srimati Radhika's most confidential attendant, maid. Srimati Radhika is the mistress of my very life, and Krishna is her life. Therefore, Radha Bala, Shri Krishna, is certainly the Lord of my life. This is the condition of all our Guru Varg. All the personalities in our line, they are all maidservants of Srimati Radhika. Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada is also a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. And if we are curious, we can find out his name and his identity. It's there. If those who want to actually know, they can inquire. What is his Gopi name? What is his Manjari name? Actually, he has two names. But that's a confidential thing, not to sort of necessarily broadcast all around, but it's there. How could he not be a Manjari in this line? Because this is the gift that Mahaprabhu is giving. Is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada any less than any of the other gurus in our line? He's like a lion guru taking this to the Western world. But the Western world haven't understood all these things so extensively. Vijay, I have heard that our acharyas, Srila Jiva Goswami, was in favor of sambandha in Swakiya Bhav, the marital relationship. Is this true? Goswami, none of the followers of Sriman Mahaprabhu were outside the pure transcendental parakya bhav. None of the followers. That means Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada also. None of them. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Bhakti Brahman Keshav Maharaj, my Gurudev, all are complete followers of this transcendental parakya bhav. Completely. Sri Swarup Goswami is the sole guru of this transcendental parakya ras. Lalita Sakhi, I said before, these two verses just written by her, we should learn. Very important. He has given instruction on the purest transcendental parakya bhav, and Srila Jiva Goswami, as well as Sri Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami, followed in his footsteps and maintained the same opinion. So don't be confused about our line at all. All are manjaris from top to bottom. Srila Jiva Goswami has never cherished any independent sentiments of Swakiya Bhajan. However, he observed a scent of Swakiya Bhav in some of the Upasakas, worshippers of Braj. The Swakiya Bhav of Braj is found only where the Samartha Rati has a scent of Samanjasa Rati in it. That Samanjasa Rati is the queens of Dwarka. Those who maintain a slight sense of Swakiya Bhav when they establish their relationship with Krishna are actually Swakiya Upasakas. Srila Jiva Goswami had both types of disciples, those with Shuddha Parakya Bhav and those whose worship was mixed with a sense of Swakiya Bhav. So we know this, he had these two types of disciples. Consequently, he left separate instructions according to the disciples' different inclinations. It's not that you can negate and say, no, there's no Swakiya Bhav. If someone has that mood, then Jiva Goswami is so kind and he's giving the instructions for that mood to flourish and develop. It doesn't mean that that's necessarily that Jiva Goswami believed in Swakiya Bhav. He was fully immersed in Parakya understanding, and we see from so many of his writings, it's only a very little Swakiya. Consequently, he left separate instructions according to his disciples' different inclinations. This fact is clearly established in the shloka Swachya Likhitam Kinchit in his Lochan Rochini Tika on Ujjvala Nilamani. So that we have to appreciate. Vijay, very well. I have understood that only the unadulterated Parakya Bhajan is accepted in the Vishuddha pure Gaudiya conception. Only that. Now that I have understood Sambandha, please tell me about Vyas, age. Goswami, Sambandha that you have established with Krishna has resulted in your unprecedented and unparalleled intrinsic Swarup, Braja Lalan Swarup, of a Braja Gopi. Now, to render service in that Swarup, you need to have a suitable age, Vyas, and the appropriate age is Kaishora, the age from 10 to 16, also known as Vyaya Sandhi. In your Swarup, you will begin from the age of 10 and grow up to 16 years. Rajalalans do not have the three ages of Balya, infancy, ages 0 to 5, Pauganda, ages 5 to 10, childhood, ages 5 to 10, and Vriddha, adulthood. So you should always foster. Of course, in the spiritual world, it's eternal time. There's no conception of time, past, present, and future. So therefore, you're eternally in that Kashura age. Kishuri. So you should always foster the spiritual identification of being a Kishori. Vijay, please explain to me about Nam, name. I have already received the name of my Swarup, but still, please give me firm instructions in this regard. Goswami, after hearing about the services of various damsels of Braj, your own service tendency has awakened. According to that natural tendency for service, you are a maidservant of Radhika Sakhi. The name of that maidservant is your name. Your Gurudev has given you your name after examining your inclination or ruchi. That name is to be considered your Nityanam. You will be delighted, Manorama, by this name among the Brajagopis. So his name is Manorama. That is his name, Manorama. And it means to delight the Lord. Prabhu, now please tell me about Rup, eternal form. Goswami, the intrinsic transcendental identity is that of a beautiful, youthful Kishori, which means that your Sri Gurudev has defined your Siddha Rup according to the inclination and ruchi, according to your inclination and ruchi. How can one be the maidservant of Srimati Radhika without having been endowed with an inconceivable divine form and personal beauty? Vijay, please consolidate my faith regarding Yut group. Goswami, Srimati Radhika herself is the Yuteshwari, leader of the Yut, and you have to live as an attendant in the group of one of her 8 principal Sakhis. Your Gurudev has put you under the guidance of Srimati Lalita, so now you should render loving service to Yuteshwari Srimati Radhika and Leela Shri Krishna under Shri Lalita's order. Vijay, Prabhu, what sort of sadhaks become followers of the groups of Yuteshwaris such as Chandravali? So I'm going to discuss this topic tomorrow. We'll discuss about Chandravali. Chandravali principally is the opposition party. It's a very interesting description about Chandravali. So we can go there tomorrow. So I'll stop here now today. Perhaps tomorrow we may complete this chapter. Shri Jaiva Dharma ki jai. Ekadash Bhavs ki jai. So he's going through these Ekadash Bhavs. In your notes you can write down these 11 bhavs. If you write them down for yourselves, it'll make a deeper impression than just reading them. Always we want to have a foundation of these truths accessible in the heart, not just in the mind. So we need to program ourselves, educate ourselves in these topics. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Now we're into chapter 39 and we're discussing the Ekadash Bhavs. And the last thing we discussed was about the Yuteshwaris. And I'll read from halfway, or almost down to the bottom of page 804. We'll pick up from there. So Vijay is asking, please consolidate my faith regarding Yut group. Goswami, Srimati Radhika herself is the Yuteshwari, leader of the Yut, and you have to live as an attendant in the group of one of her 8 principal Sakhis. Your Gurudev has put you under the guidance of Srimati Lalita Devi. So now you should render loving service to Yuteshwari Srimati Radhika and Lila Shri Krishna under Shri Lalita's order. Remarkably enough, in the very first chapter, this is mentioned. In the first chapter, when Premdas Babaji is in his samadhi in Nishanta Lila, and he's saying, silence the monkey Kakati, otherwise Lalita will become disturbed. Look, Ananga Manjari is signaling. He gives his whole line right there in the first chapter, and then he unpacks it in the next 40 chapters, 39 chapters. Vijay, Prabhu, what sort of sadhaks become followers in the groups of Yuteshwaris such as Shri Chandravali? So you should mark this particular place in the Jaiva Dharma so you can answer this question if someone brings it up, and where it is in chapter 39, you should have a reference to it, because it's only going to be mentioned once about Chandravali in this way. Goswami, the intense desire to be the attendant of a Yuteshwari awakens in one's heart only after accumulating fortune, sukriti, for many births. So only the most fortunate sadhaks have access to Srimati Radhika's Yut. The efforts of Sri Chandravali and other Yuteshwaris are simply to enhance the Lila. They're secondary, but they're enhancing the Lila. And it is only to nourish Sri Sri Radha Madhav's transcendental ras that the other Yuteshwaris have accepted the mood of an opponent. If there was no opponent, there could be no man. Radhika would not exhibit that amazing feature of herself in man. There would be so much of the rasas would be reduced. There has to be the Vipaksh party, the opposition party. In fact, Srimati Radhika alone is Yuteshwari. That means she alone is the one to focus on. Sri Krishna's variegated pastimes are full of abhiman, spiritual self-conception. Those who have a particular service to Sri Krishna in his pastimes identify themselves as being perfectly fitted for just that service. Absolutely perfect. For example, Mother Yashoda is in Vatsalya Bhav. She may, by some accident perhaps, or fortune, hear about Krishna with the Sakhis, but she doesn't believe it. Neither would she ever in her dreams remotely want to give up her mood of Vatsalya Bhav for Krishna, even though it's described in the progression of stages that actually the Sringara Ras is higher than the Vatsalya Ras. But that's her Sthai Bhav, and the same with the Sakhas. Their Sthai Bhav is fixed in Sakhya Ras, and they're completely 1,000,000,000,000,000% satisfied with that. They would never want to alter that. Exactly like we have our own particular identities now today. Whoever we are, we have our own identities, whether they're good or bad or weak or strong or whatever they are, but we would never want to trade them for we might think someone is very admirable and so on, but we wouldn't want to become that person and give up our own cherished nature and idea, right? So this is exactly how all of the Brijabasis are situated in their Sthai Bhav, absolutely permanently. Whatever your Sthai Bhav is, it's perfectly fitted just for your spirit soul to interact in such a way that you will derive the highest bliss, and Krishna will also derive the highest bliss. It's perfectly situated. So we should be cautious in our showing our affiliation to others, unless they're in the same, we say this verse when we're describing association, Svajatiya. Svajatiya means the same mood, the same group, wanting Manjari Bhav. There are many people in Vrindavan who want all kinds of different things other than direct Manjari Bhav, unless they've been really drinking deeply the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the flute song or mouthpiece of Rupa Goswami. Then they might be deviating from that truth that Mahaprabhu was giving. So it's not going to be the same. We have to be discerning. We have to be discriminating in our appreciation. We have to know what is the path. So this Jaiva Dharma is chalking it out emphatically in golden letters, exactly what it is. Those who have a particular service in Sri Krishna in his pastimes identify themselves as being perfectly fitted for just that service. Yes, they would never exchange their service. Those servants, Patrak, who in Dasyaras, it's not really Dasyaras, it's Dasyaras and some Sakyaras combined. They would never want to give up that service. Like Bringara and Bringuru, which is Govinda and Kashishwar, who came to serve Mahaprabhu, sent by Ishvara Puri. They were his disciples. And they're always in that mood. Govinda is always in that mood of service to Mahaprabhu. He'd never want to be anybody else other than that sevak. I'm saying this because the nature of this material world is crackling with envy. Everyone wants something that somebody else has, isn't it? This is the nature. This is what's pushing people. This is the impetus. Oh, you've got a big car, so I want a big car. You've got a big house, so I want a big house. You've got a big family, so I want a big family. So this is the nature of the world that we live in. But we should know that that is all material. And the nature of the spiritual world is completely without envy. We just said at the very beginning, this nir matsara, without envy. That's what it means, nir matsara, no envy. Dharma projita kaitavatra nir matsara. Dharma. Vijay, now I wish to become resolute with regard to guna. So the word resolute is important. This is basically what I'm saying. We need to become resolute in our appreciation of these truths. We've heard so much Rasa Tattva, we've heard so much about Abhideya also, about the Das Mula, etc. Now we should be fixed, our platform should be strong. Resolute, not just be like cotton. When the wind comes, we just blow anywhere. We should become like gold, heavy, garista. So we're not just blown around by this and that. Have it fixed. And we should have it fixed in Mahaprabhu's conceptions. Chaitanya Charitamrita is the backbone of our practice. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, all these truths are there. They may not be overt, they might be like covert, they might be internally there. They're all there. All these truths are there in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and of course Jaiva Dharma. So know these granthas. Absolutely, be resolute. Goswami, you are expert in the various types of fine skills required for your assigned service. Yes, you're expert in your real identity, your swarup, your siddhadeya. It's absolutely expert, because that's who you are. You need suitable qualities and dress in order to render your service perfectly, and your Gurudev has already ascertained these for you. So Gurudev will intimate this when the sadhak is completely ready. And I always remember one time in Mathura, when my Gurudev was speaking just about this, and everyone is thinking, oh, Madhav Maharaj, he's the closest to my Gurudev. He's always there with my Gurudev. And he turned around and said to 500 people, well, Gurudev hasn't given me all of this Ekadash Bhavs. In other words, don't think that Gurudev is just going to pass it out just because you've been doing a particular amount of seva. The adhikar has to develop in the individual first. And don't become impatient for that. It's a very high thing that we're talking about. It is a high topic. We must, I've said many, many times, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he said, what are the three principal stages of bhajan? What are the qualities of bhajan? The first is patience. We've been a long time in the material world, suffering this material disease of lust, anger, greed, etc. So it's going to take time to actually purify that. It's not going to just happen click, 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 just because you know a few verses and you've read Jaiva Dharma one time. All of a sudden the lights are going to go on, and all of a sudden you're going to realize your siddhadeya, spiritual identity. It's a completely holistic process. It has to be acting in all facets of your consciousness. Totally. And it can only come kripaika labhya. Kripaika labhya. This means by the mercy of our Guru Varga and the mercy of Krishna. Kripaika labhya, greed, this sacred greed. That's the quality that Krishna will be seeking. And he will only come close to us if he senses that there's some great connection with Sri Radhika. If there's no connection with Sri Radhika, Krishna doesn't have so much interest, really. If Radhika is vacant in the heart, then just like when Krishna goes with the Sakhas, he leaves them every day at midday. They don't have Radhika in their hearts. He loves to play with them for a little while, but then he goes to Radhika. That's where his heart is. So Krishna's heart is with Radhika. So if I'm cultivating a mood of Radha Dasyam as being a maidservant of Sri Radhika, that is the one point that is going to be attractive to Krishna. Nothing else really. Feeding millions of sadhus and doing all things like this is not necessarily going to attract Krishna. This is like punya, this is like charity work. You'll get sukriti from doing it. But will you actually get that entrance into Brajadam? In order your service perfectly, and your Gurudev has already ascertained these for you. Vijay, now please tell me about Agyan, specific orders. Goswami, there are two types of Agyan, Nitya and Naimitic. So eternal instructions and secondary instructions. Your Nitya Agyan is whatever Agyan your compassionate Saki has bestowed upon you regarding your seva during the Astakaliya Lila. During the Astakaliya Lila, we just carefully read through every single verse of the Astakaliya Lila. We got the whole picture in one bang. I didn't stop reading the whole thing all the way through. But if we unpack that through those books that I mentioned before, Krishna Govinda Lilamrita, Krishna Bhavanamrita, then we can understand more and more of that Astakaliya Lila. But only those services in the Astakaliya Lila. And you must continue to render it regularly at that particular time without any negligence. And I used to see my Gurudev when he was performing any type of seva, when he was doing his Guru Puja, when he was offering to his Gurudev, there would be no mistake. Everything was exact. And he would want everyone else to do their exact services. It's very important. Not any sort of splayed out, maybe this, maybe that. That shows not a self-realized soul. Apart from that, from time to time, she may give you a gyan about other services when the necessity arises. And this is called naimitic agyan, occasional orders. So those occasional orders will be there, but they're not the nitya. So here, understand the distinction between nitya and naimitic. Sometimes they will be nitya, and sometimes naimitic orders will manifest also. The same with our Guru. There is the specific order. Chant Hare Krishna, read Srimad Bhagavatam, learn about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is our nitya seva. And then there are other small things that we do simultaneously. But the main purpose is our Bhagavatam and our Nam Bhajan. This is the main requirement. You should also attend to these services with the utmost diligence. Even those naimitic agyan, they should be with the utmost diligence. Vijay, what is Vas, residence? Goswami, to reside in Braj eternally. This is Vas. You should realize your identity as a gopi who is born in the house of some gopa in one of the villages of Braj, and you have been married to a gopa of some other village in Braj. However, the sweet sound of Krishna's Murli has captivated you. Srimati Radhika's confidential Saki has taken you under her guidance and has appointed a place of residence for you in a beautiful kutia in a grove on the bank of Radha Kund. The residence that you have realized internally by your intrinsic spiritual identity is your true Vas. So this is only with complete self-realization of my spiritual identity will this manifest. But at least we're hearing this. We're hearing what is the pathway. We're not on the path. We're on the path at the very, 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 very beginning. And we're hearing about the journey. How can we progress without knowing the nature of the journey, where we're going? So these truths have to be spoken, they have to be read, they have to be heard, they have to be listened to. We should understand our adhikar at this point, and not to try to jump and think, oh yes, I've got to suddenly do something that is beyond my adhikar. Don't do that. That will end up in great difficulty for us. The residence that you have realized internally by your intrinsic spiritual identity, is your true vas. Your parakya bhav is actually your nitya siddha bhav. This parakya bhav is your nitya siddha bhav. Vijay, kindly give more specific details about my seva, service. Goswami, you are a maid servant of Srimati Radhika, and your eternal service is to render loving service unto her. Sometimes, out of necessity, she may send you to be alone with Sri Krishna in a solitary place, and at that time Krishna may express his desire to enjoy with you. However, you should never agree to his proposals. You are a dasi of Srimati Radhika, and you never independently serve Krishna for his pleasure without her permission. You have equal loving attachment for Radha and Krishna, but still you should maintain greater earnestness for her seva. Dasya Prad Radhika Sneha. We are inclined to Radhika. This is our mood, always. This is the meaning of seva. Your seva is to care for Sri Radhika's comfort and pleasure in all the eightfold pastimes of the Astakaliya Lila. So when we read through that Astakaliya Lila, we can see where is Radhika in all of these periods of the day, and how can I render service to her in all those periods of the day. That is Ekantika Shuddha Bhakti, that is one-pointed Bhakti to Sri Radhika. That's called Bhavalas. That's just wanting Radhika's pleasure, constantly. This is the meaning of seva. Your seva is to care for Sri Radhika's comfort and pleasure in all the eightfold pastimes of the Astakaliya Lila. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami has presented the outline of your service in Sri Vilap Kusumanjali, based on Sri Swarup Damodar's treatise. So why did my Gurudev go so carefully through the Vilap Kusumanjali? Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that this is an essential treatise, an essential explanation of the nature of Manjari Bhav. It's in Vilap Kusumanjali, and we have all the audios, so nothing has been interpolated or changed, because we can listen to the audio simultaneously. On my website, actually under audios, all of these audios are there. You can hear all the audios of Vilap Kusumanjali, and you can get a transcription of those audios exactly as they were, not an edited version. I would suggest to you that you don't get an edited version where they're trying to put Gurudev's language into good English, because you're going to miss something from that. Vijay, how can Parakashta Vas, Swas, the utmost summit of sentiments and the very breath of the aspirant, be ascertained? So this Parakashta Swas is we're still in the Ekadash Bhavs here. Goswami. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami has explained Parakasht in the following two shlokas. Asha Praya Amrita Sindhu Maya Katanchit Kalo Mayati Kamita Kila Sampratam Hi Tvanchet Kripam Mayidasyasi Naiva Kimme Praneva Jena Chavaro Vikarinapi. That's Vilap Kusumanjali 102 and 103. Ha Varo Radha. Varo Ru. Varo Ru means beautiful limbed or thighs of Radhika. I am spending my days in great distress, maintaining the highest expectation of attaining the ocean of nectar. Now please bestow your kindness upon me, for if you do not do so, what is the use of my life, my residence in Braj, or even my servitude to Krishna? All will be completely in vain. So this is a mood of desperation. Unless Radhika bestows her mercy, Raghunath is in a mood to just finish his life. This is greed. Hanata Gokula Sudha Kara Samprasana
Vatranavinda Madhura Shmita He Kriparadra Yatra Tvaya Viharate Pranaya Pratatyat Tatrairamam Apinaya Priya Sevanaya.
Ha Gokul Chandra, Ha Krishna, with a smiling, blissful lotus face, Ha, you whose heart is soft and melting, wanting to bestow mercy on all, kindly take me where you lovingly take Srimati Radhika, and sport with her eternally, and allow me to render confidential loving service to you both. So this is an answer to the most confidential service. The answers given by Raghunath Das, our Prayojan Guru. Vijay, these verses can be unpacked extensively. These verses are for our meditation. Vijay, please explain Palyadasi Swabhav, the disposition of the maids who have accepted the protection of Sri Radha. Goswami, Sri Das Goswami has explained the disposition of the Palyadasis in his Brajavilas Stava as follows.
Sandra Prema Sarpluto Priyatyaita Pragalvayam Apta Tayo Prana Prishta Vayasasyo Anudinam Lila Visaram Kramai Vaidagyena Tata Sakim Rati Sada Manasya Shiksham Rasai Yeyam Karayata Yatiha Kayita Antalilata Grihanutu Samam Granai.
This is Brajavilas Stava 29. Sri Lalita Devi is drowning in the utterly unfathomable Prem Ras. Sri Sri Radha Krishna are her Pran Prishta, her dearest beloved, the life of her life. And every day, with the pragalbhata, boldness born of her love for them both, she arranges for their loving meetings. With great expertise, she instructs her Saki, Srimati Radhika. May she accept me as Palyadasi, one of the attendant maids in her personal group. So Lalita Saki is so close to Radha and Krishna. She can chastise both of them. She has this pragalbhata, which is very wonderful quality in their relationship. She will tell Radhika to maintain her man. Sometimes she contradicts and tells Radhika to break her man. Why doesn't she break her man? So she will be like that. So she can go either way. She will do whatever is necessary to enhance the loving relationship between the two. Sometimes she will take Krishna's side, sometimes she will take Radha's side. It's a very, very beautiful appreciation of who is Lalita Devi. Vijay, what sort of attitude should a Palyadasi have towards Sri Lalita Devi's other attendant maids, and how should she deal with them? So now there are many maids, servants in Lalita Saki's gun, and how should they be also treated by this particular maidservant? Goswami. All of Srila Das Goswami's writings are enriched with transcendental ras. So today we'll start on the beginning of page 808, where we got stuck yesterday, got silenced. I'll read just on the bottom of page 807 the question. Vijay, what sort of attitude should a Palyadasi have towards Lalita Devi's other attendant maids, and how should she deal with them? So we understand already the vast numbers of the gopis and their groups, etc. We've been through all the different groups, all the Lagu, Sama, Apekshika, all the different groups and types and personalities, and we come to appreciate the multitudes of bhavs that are available for Krishna to relish and taste. So many. So how to deal and how to relate with all the other gopis? So this is his question. Goswami, all of Sri Das Goswami's writings are enriched with transcendental rasa, which are but illustrations of Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami's instructions. Raghunath Das lived with Swarup Damodar for 14 years in Puri. Swarup Damodar is Lalita Sakhi. So Raghunath Das was witness to so many of the very, very confidential pastimes of the Lord in the Gambhira. Raghunath Das was right there. He was 14 years there, then he came, and 40 years he was living in Radhakund, remembering all of the pastimes that he'd seen and witnessed. So this is his heart which is coming, which is laced with the instructions from Swarup Damodar. So this is very, very powerful. Whatever Raghunath Das is saying, it's coming from his own witnessing these pastimes, as well as the teachings of Swarup Damodar. When Raghunath first runs away from home and comes to Puri, Mahaprabhu places his hands in the hands of Swarup Damodar and says, now you are Swarup Raghu. Everyone will know you as Swarup Raghu. So he just stayed in the same place, very, very close by the Gambhira. That's where he stayed. So, transcendental right, which are but illustrations of Sri Swarup Damodar's Goswami's instructions. In this respect, he has written,
Tambula Panapada Mardana Payodana Bisharadipya Rindaranya Maheshwarin Priya Tatyaryas Toshyanti Priya Prana Preshta Saki Kulad Api Kila Shanko Chita Umika Keli Bhumishu Rupa Manjari Mukasta Dikshaha Dishika Samsaya.
Rajavilastava 38. I take shelter of Sri Rupa Manjari and the other maidservants of Srimati Radharani, the great queen of Vrindavan. Those maidservants perpetually satisfy her by their loving services, such as offering tambul, massaging her feet, bringing water, and arranging for her trysts with Sri Krishna. The Pran Preshta Sakhis are dearer to Srimati Radhika than her very life, but these maidservants are still more dear, because without feeling shy, they can enter the area where the divine couple enjoy their most confidential pastimes. This Tat Bhav Ichamayi, these Sakhis, the Pran Sakhis and the Nitya Sakhis, these are the Manjaris, and they're all about 11 years old, 12 years old, some of them. The Pran Sakhis are a bit older than the Nitya Sakhis. So, being in that youthful body, they are so much submissive to Sri Radhika. Like the Sakhis, they are, many of them, the same age as Radha. Vishaka is exactly the same age. Lalita Sakhi is 27 days older. Tungavidya is 5 days older, I think. Chitra is maybe some days younger. So they're all describe their exact ages in relationship to Radhika. But the Manjaris are so much younger, and they're like extensions of Radhika's body. She can pull their ears, slap them, anything like this, and they just love her completely. They're her extensions of her body. Vijay, what type of attitude and dealings should be maintained towards the other principal Sakhis? Goswami, Sri Das Goswami has indicated this in the following shloka.
Pranaya lalita namas priya bhumistvayoya Raja pura navayuno chay yacha kantam vikkanam Nayati param adastad divya ganane atustya Pratyayatu mama tiksham Antasaya Vishaka.
Sri Vishaka Devi is favored by the youthful couple on account of her qualities of intimate love, playful humor, and daring amorous curiosity. Her charming celestial singing mocks the sweetness of the cuckoo. May that Vishaka mercifully train me in the art of music. Very beautiful, very beautiful. So you can read this verse many times and catch its mood and sweetness. Gopal Guru Goswami added, you must also maintain a similar submissive attitude towards the other Sakis. Vijay, but what type of mood should be maintained towards the Sakis of the rival group, Vipaksh? Goswami, in this regard, Srila Das Goswami states, Sapno Chaya Rajyat Ujjvala Rasoyacha Samud Vridayai Sobhagyat Bata Garava Vibram Rata Shri Radhikaya Utam Govinda Smara Fula Varava Vadu Vargena Yena Shanam Kritati Eshatam Atta Vistrita Mahapunyan Cha Vadamhe. This is from the Raja Vilas Stava 41. I repeatedly offer my prayers to the Vraja Gopis, headed by the highly fortunate Chandravali, who have the mood of rivals towards Srimati Radhika. They are endowed with attributes such as feelings of great fortune, pride in their excellence, and amorous delusion, Vibram. Sri Krishna consorts with them for only a few moments, just to enhance the mood of Radhika's Sringara Ras. So we've explained a number of times how the necessity for the opposition group is there, because it heightens the sweetness and the eagerness of the Swapaksh. When the opposition party can hijack Krishna from the Avisar, from the rendezvous, then it makes everything much more intensely sweet and special ultimately. And what we have to appreciate is that there is no envy amongst them. This rishya, it's called, it's a sanchariva, described as envy, but that is transcendental because it's all for Krishna's service. All of this is all completely for his happiness. There is nothing else in their hearts except Krishna's happiness at heart. They don't, if they wanted their own agenda, then it would be like the material consideration of envy. But it's absolutely not even a smell of material emotional moods whatsoever. This is the transcendental rishya, which is envy. Sri Krishna consorts with them for only a few moments, just to enhance the mood of Sri Radhika's Sringara Ras. One has to maintain this type of feeling within the heart towards the Sakis, belonging to the opposition group. And at the time of rendering service, one can deal with each individual appropriately with loving remarks and jokes. We remember the pastime of Raghunath Das. Right at the end of his life, he was only taking one little leaf cup full of buttermilk. And one day his servant bought him a bigger leaf cup with more buttermilk because he was thinking he's getting so skinny. It's like practically, some have described that Raghunath externally was suffering from tuberculosis like that. And he was always weeping, but totally skinny. And the servant thought, well, I'll bring him a bigger cup with buttermilk. So Raghunath, he noticed the bigger cup and said, where is this from? Oh, from Sakistali. From Sakistali? Chandravali's Kund? And he picked up a stick and he chased that servant away. And he didn't drink anything. So that was the mood he had towards Chandravali. He didn't want to take anything from the opposition party. That's the opposition to Radhika. That would not please Radhika. If you take from the opposition, why should Radhika be pleased? If you're in one group and you know your Gurudev is not inclined to another group, but you go there and you find nice people and they all seem really charming and everything, but your Gurudev is not favorable there, then you should not go there. It depends on your nishta. Is your nishta strong, like Raghunath Das? Or is our nishta just whatever way the wind blows, I will just go? In summary, you should render your seva according to the methods and bhavs illustrated in Sri Vilap Kusumanjali, and maintain mutual relationship and dealings with Sakis and other Brajabasis as explained in Sri Braja Vilas Stava. In Braja Vilas Stava, all of the different personalities of Braj are glorified. There's 107 verses. For example, I just give you a little example of this Braja Vilas Stava. First of all, the Raghunath is praying for the heroic devotees to save him from any illusion or material desires. And then he's praying to Radha Madhav in Braj, in Gandhavika, Giridhari. Then he's praying to the Dham, to the goddess of fortune. He's praying to the fields, to the Goshta, to the cows. He's praying to Vrindavan. He's praying to Nandishwar. He's praying to Nanda Baba. He's praying to Mother Yashoda, the Queen of Gokul. He's praying to Rohini. He's praying to Baladev. He's praying to Parjanya, the grandfather of Krishna. He's praying to Upananda, Sunanda, Subhadra, Ambika, Vijay, Baguri, Sridham, Subal, all the cowherd boys. He's praying to each one. Madhu Mangal. Each one has a verse to it. I'm just saying the principal topic of each verse. There's 107 verses, and each are glorifying these personalities. One verse glorifying Purnamasi Devi, another King Vrishabhanu, another Kirtida, another Mukara grandmother, the grandmother, and Lalita Saki, Vishaka, Vrinda, Kundalata, Danishta Saki. All these have particular verses to them. All the Sakis, the Manjaris, Chandravali also, she has her verse. The Gopas, the elderly Gopas, Krishna's cows, the female cows, Krishna's pet bull, Padmaganda, the calves, the flute, the two flutes, the Tandavika, king of peacocks, he is glorified. Gandhava, Govardhan Hill, Radhakund, Sangam is glorified. Pavan Sarovar is glorified. Kusum Sarovar is glorified. So the Rasastali is glorified. Manasiganga is everything in Braj, in 107 verses. This is the Braja Vilas Stava. We can post a PDF copy and you can see it. I'll send it to you afterwards. So this is the nature of the Braja Vilas Stava. He's saying, and maintain mutual relationships and dealings with Sakis and other Brijabasis as explained in Sri Braja Vilas Stava. So that's what I've just very briefly, in a few moments, summarized. Contemplate all the variegated Leelas included within the Astakalya Leela. Yes, we've been through that very carefully. But we haven't unpacked it, of course, because you have to unpack it individually. You have to take your individual Govinda Lilamrita and read it very carefully, perhaps over a number of years, and imbibe those moods that Krishnadas Kaviraj, who was living in Radhakund for practically most of his life. He left his home here in Bengal when he was about 18 or 19 years old. He left at the age of about more than 90 years old, practically 100 years old in Radhakund. So 80, 90 years he was living in Radhakund with the association of Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami particularly. So he was so qualified to write these. This is where he's getting his vision from. Contemplate all the variegated Leelas included within the Astakali Leela as they are explained in Vishakanandi Dadi Stotram. That's another beautiful by Raghunath Das. Absorb your mind in Krishna Leela according to the approach specified in Sri Manashiksha. Yes, Manashiksha, these verses in Manashiksha will teach us to the approach of humility. This is absolutely necessary for any approach, not that we start to become proud of having some perhaps mystical realizations or perhaps some tattvic realizations. If that pride comes in, then it's all finished completely. Then it means you haven't understood why did Krishna give you this grace and mercy. If it's utilized just to bolster up the false ego we're trying to purify. We're trying to climb off that platform. Absorb your mind in Krishna Lila according to the approach specified in Sri Manashiksha, and maintain resolute determination for the rules and regulations of bhakti according to the bhavs presented in Sri Nayana Dashakam. So it's described, and I've said many times, how Raghunath Das is our Prayojanacharya, but it's been described about him, he would have like the lines of the rules and regulations engraved on his forehead. He would follow them so strictly. And I've said so many times, my Gurudev was exactly the same. He was speaking on such elevated topics, but his nishta for Maryad, for the rules and regulations, was absolutely impeccable. He would never for a single moment cross that line, even though he could very much go into a mood of bhav like this, but still he would never cross the rules and regulations. So it's not that all of a sudden I'm beyond the rules and regulations. The rules and regulations have so much sanity to them. They have so much support. The rishis and sages have given us these rules and regulations for our support on our journey into Vrindavan. So they're all supportive, all of it. So it all should be, but not in a fanatical way. Like a Vaidhi Bhakta will be just highlighting the rules and regulations, considering that this is going to give me kripa for Krishna. But the Ragmarg personality, he will be, or practitioner, he will be practicing Raganuga Bhakti, and he'll be using the rules and regulations to please Krishna. Not in a mood to demonstrate anything in the world, so to speak, but just to please Krishna. These rules are there. So understand this deeply, very deeply. We have to follow the rules and regulations, absolutely. At the same time, when the conditions of bhav arise, they can be neglected. Just like we read that beautiful poem by Madhavendra Puri. He says, I bid adieu to my morning bath. I bid goodbye to this, to so many different rules and regulations. It's not that he's not respecting them, but he's just immersed in a deeper bhav. That's why one will automatically replace the other. It's a very important point. In his writings, Srila Rupa Goswami has illustrated Rasa Tattva extensively. Since Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entrusted him with this particular responsibility, he has not explained how Ras acts while one renders seva. I'll read that again. Mahaprabhu entrusted him, this is Rupa Goswami, with this particular responsibility. He has not explained how rasa acts while one renders seva. Rupa didn't write this. Srila Das Goswami accomplished this task in his writings. Rupa Goswami doesn't explain how to practice Manjari Bhav. Rupa Goswami describes the incredible Leelas in Vidagdha Madhav, Lalita Madhav, etc. He describes the incredible tattvas in the Sindhu rather, Bhakta Samrita Sindhu, and the Ujjwal and Lamani, the relationships between all the Brijbasis. But he doesn't describe the role and the moods of the Manjaris. But in Raghunath Das's Vilap Kusumanjali, he very carefully explains day by day all the activities that the Manjari performs and the moods the Manjari performs those activities in. My Gurudev has written, my Gurudev is Raman Manjari, so he knows the moods of the Manjaris. All our Guru Varga, they're all Manjaris. So they know the moods of what is the mood. So if we hear from a Rasik Vaishnava, then we can pick up and understand what is the nature of this Manjari Bhav. So this Vilap Kusumanjali is a very important book, and fortunately, as I said yesterday, we have it recorded. so it can't be interpolated. Sometimes editors try to be very clever and just write a very nice English sounding expression, but it misses out a lot of the sweetness that can be contained in the raw edition. So we always have that to listen to. Because he spoke it to those ISKCON gurus in 91, 92, it's all there. So Srila Das Goswami accomplished this task in his writings, which are based on the Kadacha notes of Swarup Damodar. So I've heard that these notes were contained in the throat of Swarup Damodar. They weren't actually in a hard copy notes, so to speak, but they were within his throat, and he bestowed those upon Raghunath Das. And Raghunath Das wrote much more extensive descriptions from those notes himself. And those descriptions are what he imparted to Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj. So Krishnadas Kaviraj has given us the Govinda Lilamrita, as well as this divine Chaitanya Charitamrita. So without these scriptures, how can we expect to understand the deeper purports? This whole Rasatattva section that we're reading is all summarized. It's all just a summary. It's a brief summary. It's the outline. But we need the outline first before we can fill it up. It's like the skeleton of a building but now we need the insides of it. So the insides are described with Das Goswami's writings, Vilap Kusumanjali and Brajavilas Stava, what I've just described to you today. This is very incredible, beautiful compilation. Sriman Mahaprabhu authorized and empowered his different associates respectively with different missionary responsibilities, and following his instructions, they discharged their services flawlessly because they're perfect beings. So there was no mistake in their discharge of their service. They were pure devotees. Vijay, please tell me what those various responsibilities were and to whom Sriman Mahaprabhu entrusted them. Goswami, Sriman Mahaprabhu entrusted Sri Swarup Damodar with the responsibility of teaching the process of seva endowed with transcendental rasa, rasamoy upasana. To fulfill Sriman Prabhu's order, Sri Swarup Damodar presented his treatise in two parts. One part is called the internal path, Antapanta, of Rasamaya Upasana, while the second part is called the external path, Bahyapanta, of Rasamaya Upasana. Sri Swarup Damodar offered this Antapanta around the neck of Srila Das Goswami, and it is illustrated and well preserved in Das Goswami's writings. So all his writings are influenced by this. And that means also that all the writings of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj are influenced by this. Because this is who Krishnadas Kaviraj. This is our line. Understand the current, the flow, the line is coming down. He taught the Bahyapanta to Sri Vakrashrab Goswami. That's the guru of Gopal Goswami. And this is the distinguished treasure of our line right up to the present day. I gave this treasured process to Sriman Dayana Chandra, and he has written a Padahati, a systematic step-by-step method of practice based upon it, which you have already obtained. So in the back of my Gurudev's Bhajan Rahasya, you'll find a copy of this Padahati in a brief summary form. So it's there. All of these are accessible to us. Years ago they were not so accessible, but they are now. Srimad Mahaprabhu empowered Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Advaita Prabhu and entrusted them with the responsibility of preaching the glories of Sri Nam. This is what he instructed in Bengal. He ordered and empowered Sri Rupa Goswami to manifest Rasa Tattva and gave Srila Sanatana Goswami the responsibility of elaborately illustrating relationships between Vaidhi Bhakti and Rag Bhakti. This has to be very carefully understood. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, all the descriptions of all the festivals and how they should be held and all the mantras It's in 8 big volumes are there. It's a huge work. This Hari Bhakti Vilas, and Gopal Bhatta, he completed this work of Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami did a huge one. Sanatana Goswami, there are 5 chapters in Chaitanya Charitamrita describing Sanatana Shiksha. It's described at the end of the Madhya Lila. It starts, I think, about 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Those chapters are all describing Sanatana Shiksha. And then in the next Antya Lila, it comes into Rup Shiksha, which is only 1 chapter. So Sanatana Goswami was so important, and his teachings are so important for us. That's the Brihat Bhagavatamrita and this Hari Bhakti Vilas. We should know these books. We should at least be familiar with them to some degree. Otherwise, you will just be listening to any type of Harikatha that comes on the radio by some Pandit here and there, and just think, oh yes, he's saying so nice things, yes, it must be good. But where is the cutting edge of Tattva Siddhanta? Where is it there? We should know how to discern this. It's important. This path is like a razor edge. We can slip very easily into familiarity with the personalities that we're approaching, because familiarity in one sense will be there, that with that intimacy, that vishramba, that will be there. But there's a speciality. It's like my Gurudev taught this. He invited us all to be very intimate and close with him. At the same time, there was a line where unless there was sufficient Aishwarya and respect behind the intimacy, there has to be that. And that respect comes from the study of Shastra. That respect will come from our familiarity with Chaitanya Charitamrita, Brihat Bhagavatamrita, Hari Bhakti Vilas, etc. When we've touched these granthas. So it's a lot. One great Pandit was saying he wants to have 3 or 4 more lifetimes so he can read all the books. So we have a lot of books to read. So we should start to actually immerse ourselves in these topics rather than just go into Facebook and YouTube all the time. Where are we up to? Yes, Nityananda. He gave Srila Sanatana, illustrating Vaidhi Bhakti and Rag Bhakti. He also instructed Srila Sanatana Goswami to explain the esoteric relationship between Prakrita and Aprakrita Gokul. So this he does in Brihat Bhagavatamrita. What is material and what is spiritual. So Kumar, he goes through all the material planets, and it's never satisfying until he comes to Goloka Vrindavan ultimately. So all of this is described beautifully. Through Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Sanatana Goswami, Mahaprabhu empowered Srila Jiva Goswami to establish the tattva of Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojan. In this way, each of them carried out just those specific responsibilities that Mahaprabhu had entrusted to them. Vijay, Prabhu, what responsibility did Mahaprabhu entrust to Sri Rai Ramananda? Goswami, Srimad Mahaprabhu entrusted Sri Rai Ramananda with the responsibility to elaborately illustrating Rasa Tattva, and through Srila Rupa Goswami, he accomplished this to the fullest extent. So Rai Ramananda associated with, or Rupa Goswami associated with Rai Ramananda when he was in Puri for 10 months, and he learned so much. Prabhu, what was the responsibility entrusted to Sri Sarvabhauma? Goswami, he was entrusted with the responsibility of teaching the philosophical truths about the absolute reality, tattva. He in turn gave the responsibility to Srila Jiva Goswami through the medium of one of his own disciples. Vijay, what was Srimad Mahaprabhu's instruction to his prominent followers in Bengal? Vyachaspati was that disciple of Sarvabhauma who taught Jiva Goswami in Varanasi before Jiva Goswami arrives in Vrindavan. He was instructed by Nityananda to go to Vachaspati, the disciple of Sarvabhauma, and then he absorbed those teachings at that time. What instruction of his prominent Bengali followers? Goswami, the responsibility of the Gaudiya Mahants was to illuminate Sri Gaura Tattva and to awaken in the Jiva's hearts transcendental Shraddha for Krishna Bhakti Ras that Sri Gaura had initiated. Again, Mahaprabhu entrusted some great souls among them with the responsibility of composing and propagating a special mode of Ras Kirtan. This is like Narottam, Shyamananda and Srinivas. They also had a special mood for this Kirtan. Vijay, what was the responsibility entrusted to Sri Raghunath Bhatta? Goswami, he was entrusted to teach the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vijay, it's described that Raghunath Bhatta could sing the different verses of the Bhagavatam in 4 or 5 or 6 most beautiful melodies. He had a voice like a cuckoo. Bhatta means Bhatta Acharya, means he's completely familiar in a single Veda. In the 4 Vedas, the Ajur, Yajna, Sama and Atharva. In one of those Vedas, a Bhattacharya is someone who has mastered one of those Vedas. That's what a Bhattacharya is. So Raghunath Bhatta, that's his title. He was a great scholar and he was instructed by Mahaprabhu specifically to absorb himself in Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is what he did for the benefit and pleasure of the Vaishnavas in Vrindavan, principally. And to Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Sriman Mahaprabhu entrusted him with the responsibility of properly protecting and preserving the supremely pure and transcendental Sringara Ras from any distortions and of checking any unreasonable negligence towards Vaidhi Bhakti. So we've just discussed that a little bit. Any unreasonable negligence of Vaidhi Bhakti. The rules are there to support the sadhak's meditation into the Brajaras. They're there to support it. So we should follow as much as is necessary and as is needed for our support. Vijay, what responsibility was given to Sri Prabodhananda Goswami, the guru and uncle of Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami? Goswami, he was entrusted with the responsibility of informing the world that the highest achievement is to cultivate spontaneous loving attachment for Braja Ras. So there's many books by Prabodhananda Saraswati, particularly the Vrindavan Mahimamrita. There's 19 small books we have left. There was actually many more previously, but 19 have come in English. And they just, every single verse is a glorification of Vrindavan. And he's also given us this Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi, this very beautiful description of Radha and Krishna's pastimes. So Prabodhananda Saraswati has given us such a wealth of Rasik scripture. These are all the Goswamis that Mahaprabhu's parikars supporting these conceptions within the world, headed by Rupa Goswami. So all the different personalities is what he's described here. When Vijay Kumar heard all these topics, he was delighted and considered himself to be supremely blessed. So thus ends the 39th chapter of Jaiva Dharma, entitled Entering into Lila.